Hey guys, Deeble here. Today we got a look at the new Tier 5 British premium cruiser Exeter. I got Belfast on this ship. This is kind of my secondary commander build for British cruisers. The ones that have HE, I've been plopping it on, I think just the Belfast and then this one now. Normally I'd run Fraser on most of my regular tech tree ships that just shoot AP, but then that AP, or the build is AP centric. So this one kind of allows for some enhancement of the HE, which we'll be shooting a fair amount in this ship. Briefly, as we get going here, I'm going to flash the torps. There's the widespread. Now, that's a fairly robust widespread. The British torpedo launching ships, destroyers, cruisers, all have the single fire torp launch option, and then the widespread, which normally resembles more of a traditional narrow spread, as it's labeled by the game. But this one looks fairly wide, so I'm just going to recommend shooting these singly. And if you're trying to create a spread, just try and do that manually, which takes a little bit of practice, but it is something you can do. Now this ship, like the other British cruisers, very lightly armored. In fact, you can get the snot kicked out of you very quickly. Battleships seem like they can overmatch you from any angle and citadel you from pretty much any angle. Cruisers, if you're flashing them broadside, they'll chew you up. You can angle against most cruisers, it seems like. But this ship, compared to the other British cruisers, what kind of makes it special? 203 caliber guns. So the same caliber you're going to get on the Aoba and the Pensacola at this tier. And these guns, they do pump out quite a bit of damage, both HE and AP. I've been playing the ship a fair amount, just kind of testing the guns, when to use which shell. I'm not seeing a lot of action on battleships trying to hit them waterline. Typically a heavily armored part of the battleship trying to get citadels. Not getting any results there, but you can get the AP going up into the upper belt, the superstructure, top half type of the ship, type of a name point, and you can get some good AP damage in those situations. But cruisers broadside, the AP can absolutely shred those. And then destroyers or angled cruisers, angled battleships, go ahead and get that HE going. You'll have quite a good effectiveness with those shells as well. So here we got a game on the map, Atlantic. I smoked up here. The Belfast joined the smoke, which isn't an inherently bad play, but it does get kind of tight in here with these British smokes. They don't produce a very wide smoke radius. But we got some torps incoming. They are widespread, which you can, once again, will highlight the effectiveness pretty much every time we see those. But I am trying to use this Belfast as a shield just to make sure if those torps do end up coming my way that he'll take the brunt of it. So you can consider that we're kind of charging him rent for using the smoke. But unfortunately, we have two British cruisers and a destroyer who's utilizing smoke. So nothing's getting spotted over here. I'm going to decide to go in towards the gap here, see if we can get that destroyer off of there. You can see under A it's saying contested. That means the destroyer hasn't turned around and left, which this is a fairly potent anti-destroyer lineup over here. I'd probably just get off that cap if I was him, but nevertheless, he is on there. And so we're going to just pop the sonar. As you can see, that's active. And then we're just going to go charging in here. We're going to be angled towards the cruiser. You can see on the map there's at least one cruiser back there that potentially could have shots at us, but we're going to be kind of angled towards them as we come out of the smoke. Just make sure we don't take any wicked salvos. Got HE loaded for whenever this destroyer does pop up, and there he is right now. More widespread torps. Whenever you see those coming at you, you just give a nice tug onto Neptune's beard for good luck, or to say thanks, I guess. Jervis pops up as well now. We got the sonar active. He's got the smoke going, but I should mention the sonar range on this, the surface detection, 5.1. Now we have 5.2 on the Germans at this tier, so very good sonar. Almost as good as the Germans, in fact, in terms of the range. I don't have the Lander's sonar stats written down, but looking at the Fiji, I got 4.2 written down for that, so significantly better, I believe, than what you're going to find on the British sonar. But now I wanted to push into that Jervis, even though we dropped detection with the sonar. Could have taken him out, but we got the York down here, so we need to angle towards him. We got the AP loaded. We hit the York with the Citadel earlier. At this range, extremely dangerous, and no problem. We get him just shy of 10k there and delete him from the game. So that's what we're talking about with this AP. if you're firing it against broadside cruisers like that, hitting them at the waterline in the Citadel section, you can tear those ships to shreds. And the Aoba, we're going to reposition here. I got HE loaded, so we're going to discharge that first, but then immediately we switch back to the AP broadside cruiser. Once again, we'll demonstrate on this one. He's trying to get behind the island, trying to drop spot here. We're going to line up the shot just before he does that, get the full salvo off, and then, you know, the results will speak for themselves. So we're down 2 caps at this point in time. We are in the process of getting this cap, but our entire team has overloaded over here. Now their team, they have the 2 caps, but they're all overloaded on the northeast. So kind of a typical setup that you'll see quite a bit. What we got to do in this situation, get back onto B, flip that as quickly as possible, and then kind of defend it, trying to win on score at that point in time. Lose another ship. What you don't want to do in this situation is one by one get within range of the enemy, because they'll focus you, they'll kill you very quickly, and then you'll just be losing ships numbers as the game goes on. Well, once again, we're going to try and finish them off. I think someone else manages to get the kill before we do. But anyway, that's the game plan. We got to get onto B and then kind of hold it. We need domination mode. We want to be controlling 2/3 of the map in terms of the domination points. So that's the objective here. So between this and the Leander, obviously the main difference is the gun caliber. I got 7.5 on my Leander reload, 11.6 on this one. Again, there might be a little bit of variation due to the commander influence as well. But the ship performs fairly similarly. Turn radius slightly better on the Leander, speed slightly better. We got a better rudder shift on this one, slightly better concealment, but overall they perform pretty well. Now this one has 6 torps, 3 per side. Leander has 8, 4 per side. So that's a key difference there. Torp reload, very good on this one though, 72 seconds compared to 96 on the Leander. Similar damage, speed in the water, all that sort of stuff. So the torps are usable. I've actually been getting a fair amount of strikes with them. They got a pretty good range, but if you're set up around islands too and people try and rush you, you can use them defensively and have some success with those. Now, primarily what you want to be doing with this one is shooting from cover so you're not taking a lot of incoming fire or taking ships 1v1s. We're kind of pushing into a situation here where we're expecting the bulk of the force to be over here. They all end up popping up here. We're going to try and get on the cap before we get blown up and then slow down, pop the smoke. These ships are very glidey, the British cruisers. They have kind of built-in prop mods, so they take off very quickly, but they're very slow to stop. So you got to kind of plan on when you're going to deploy those smokes. Hit the brakes, then start putting that smoke down. Going to try and initially take out that Belfast, who does, of course, have radar, but the Moss pops up, and, you know, we'd like to get rid of him if at all possible. But we're hoping for one more puff there on that smoke. You see, we didn't actually get it as we're kind of drifting in there. So we're in danger of drifting out, but because the Moss is that close, whenever we fire our guns, he's going to proxy spot us with the smoke fire penalty, and then he gets away. So we're going to try and get the Belfast. Luckily, our team's shooting him quickly, so teamwork whittles him down. We're being lit up for a while here. I am broadside of those battleships, at least until these torps close in. You're going to see a lot of overpen type damage when we're broadside of battleships. That's 1,000, 1,100 type damage. And because of the light armor nature of this, that's a viable strategy to kind of point the broadside at battleships. But when there's a cruiser in the mix, like that Belfast, that play becomes quite a bit more dangerous. Gneisenau is closing in now. Got to keep an eye on his distance away, because again, that'll prevent us from firing if he gets too close, lest we get spotted. Now he's kind of singly focused on God knows what he's doing, but this guy's going to wind up going in a straight line, and we're going to get a chance to demonstrate the torp's potency when that happens. So in this situation, we're up, a couple ships, still trying to get B, because they can win very easily on score here, but if we can take out the Gneisenau, that would drop down their team's power substantially, give us a boost in the score, and give us some room to operate. So that's the main goal here. We're peppering them there, shooting HE into that superstructure. We could maybe try AP there, but we had the HE loaded. Queen Elizabeth, easier shot now as the Gneisenau pulls around. Take a shot at him. Now we're going to boost forward or kick it into drive, and then you can see here we stack 2 torps right on top of each other, and then one a little bit to the right to kind of create some sort of a spread. Again, you can try launching the quote-unquote widespread with these ones, but they're really widespread, at least according to the fan-shaped indicator that pops up. So I'm not planning on using those, but just kind of manually dropping those torps. And you can see we got a little bit of a spread there, but a kind of a kill shot as well with that left grouping, and we take him out there. Now we pull forward. We don't want to get blasted by that Queen Elizabeth, so kind of what I'm trying to think of, what should we do here? We're getting located by the Maz. Obviously, he's running Bay with the twisting track, but that's not a big deal. We can kind of get a read on him, because that if he's close to that destroyer, which he probably is now, then we can get a rough idea of where he is. But anyway, we're trying to create distance from the Queen Elizabeth, maybe create some opportunity to use these torps on the other side of the ship, but I don't in general want to close in on these battleships, or really any ships. I've gotten into some close quarters duels, and because you can pump out the damage, you can win them in certain situations, but not against ships that are kind of ignoring your armor or able to deal massive amounts of damage to you in short amounts of time. So at this point in time, you know, the Queen Elizabeth was kind of mirroring the Gneisno's travel path. I'm thinking maybe we can set up an ambush for him if he's just kind of sailing in a straight line. So trying to just barely peek around here. We are getting spotted by the Moss, but the Queen Elizabeth can't currently shoot us. We launch the torps and then try and turn away. Take a shot, maybe we can catch him on fire. But he did have his guns kind of pre-aimed at us, and he does get us there. And you can see, even though we're well angled, those shots get in and cause a fair amount of damage. It didn't blow us up, but now we got the Maz popping up. I kind of make a decision very quickly. I don't know if I disagree with it watching the replay back, or whether I agree with it as I watch this back, but I decided to kind of risk my ship to try and kill this Moss here, keep him spotted, keeping the broadside at the Queen Elizabeth. But now that the Maz is shooting back with his HE, I'm kind of getting a little bit flustered here. How do I angle against this? And the Maz is able to take me down. Queen, we missed with the torps, but our team's whittling them down. They do go on to win this game. So I thought it was a pretty good look at what this ship can do overall, in terms of torps, in terms of guns, in terms of susceptibility to incoming fire, in terms of movement, concealment, all that. So that's why I picked this game. I do like the ship. I think it's pretty strong. It's one of those glass cannon types where if you can protect yourself by using cover, you're going to need some teammates to spot for you. So this would be a good ship for people that play in divisions a lot. But if you got situations where you can get those guns humming, the damage is there. The problem with it is that they can take you off the map very quickly. So if you see an Exeter on the enemy team, just take a couple minutes to get rid of it, and you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches as the game progresses. Anyway, that's a look at the Exeter. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, well, consider subscribing. There's a lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. I do love to hear from you. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.